Hey everyone, welcome back to the Visions podcast. Today I am joined by Mr. Jake Crossman. How are you, Jake?
Hey man, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all good. First of all, can you just give us a little bit of background to yourself and your bit background to your career as well?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I've been an actor kind of my whole life. I grew up doing theater. I think I started my first play when I was in fourth grade. And then I went to college for kind of the background of it all. I learned to write, produce, direct. I ended up working for ESPN and then Fox Sports for a few years as a producer and director. I did things like hockey, basketball. I did some football. I did some lacrosse, field hockey, kind of any sport that ESPN touches, I've probably covered at some point. And then following the pandemic, I ended up leaving all that and kind of doing more social media. I started a TikTok, and it was more of a health TikTok. I kind of help people get outside, take walks, drink water during that COVID time, and then that led into more of a health career. I got my certification as a nutritionist, ended up launching a company called USA Medical. We did, global sales of all kinds of different vitamins throughout those years. And then just within the last couple of years, I kind of rediscovered my passion for acting. I did a short film about 2 years ago. And that was just like, okay, I want to get back into it. And I kind of found these things called verticals about a year ago, summer 25. And those have just been kind of awesome to do. They're a great way to get on set, meet people, act. It's kind of like people asking me what classes I take. It's like right now I'm not in any classes, man. Verticals are the class every day, and they're a dues to be part of. So yeah, that's kind of my my entire life in 2 minutes. But there you go.
Doing your first theatre production in fourth grade, what do
Mhm.
you remember most about that early experience?
It's funny, man. I don't remember the play. I was trying to the other day. I was trying to think about it. I don't remember the play at all. But I remember I had to play like this kind of country cowboy kid, and I just remember like going to Plato's Closet with my mom and like trying to find like country outfits. So they didn't have costumes for us at the like local theater or whatever. So I really like I don't remember much of anything other than like my mom being annoyed she has to spend money on a costume. That's kind of the main like memory I have of that play. And then I remember like getting my stage makeup done and being like, this is weird, those are like the two memories. But I was in fourth grade, so I don't really remember much outside of that.
At that age, did you ever think you would have a future in acting and
Nah, it wasn't even a thought. I just was, honestly, I think the director of the play ended up just asking me to be part of it because I mean, I was a small school, and it was a really small theater group. So I think they just ended up asking me to be part of it, and I was like, that sounds fun. I wasn't really playing sports at the time, so that got me into it. I did it for a few years. I did theater for like 4 or 5 years, and then I started playing sports in high school. And then I ended up redoing theater in like 11th and 12th grade. So my last 2 years, I got back into it.
um, when did acting on camera start to feel like something you wanted to pursue?
I mean, I did a lot of YouTube in college. I had a YouTube channel, and then I ended up having me and my friend started a Musically account back in the day where we would go
Yeah.
live and like do Musically, and then that became TikTok. So I've kind of been on camera a lot. Like I've always liked it. I've always enjoyed it. I don't know. I think I like storytelling, and I really enjoyed the process of like any medium. What is the story? Like right now, we're telling stories, right? This is the
Yeah.
podcast. This is the arc of a story, and it's like I just really enjoy finding that, regardless. So whether it's producing live sports, whether it's directing narrative content, whether it's going live on Musically, it's like there's a story to be told, and the only way that you're going to keep an audience is if you tell it. So like I enjoy that process of figuring that out.
So you're currently performing in vertical dramas.
Yeah.
What first drew you to that um, format, or was it by accident?
The money. No. No. Honestly, it was just a great opportunity. I was struggling to get any work outside of like unpaid student films, to be honest with you. I mean, I was doing a couple shorts, a couple student films. A majority of everything I was doing for a year was unpaid, and like I'm trying to do a different job to survive. And it's like, well, this isn't really working. And then I think it was actually in November. It was either September or October of 25. But my first show ever was with an actor named Beverly Steele. She's incredible, and she was the lead on that project. And I just met her for like 1 minute, but we've ended up getting to work together a lot throughout the last year, and it's been fun. We actually just did a huge project together called Bridal Revenge Served Cold, live on Drama Box now. So really fun to be able to work with her and kind of grow that relationship with every actor and every producer and every director. You know, we all get to work together a lot. Just that's just the nature of this kind of soap opera style business, is we're all
Mhm.
constantly making stuff. So it's just a really cool community. I think Hollywood, you know, gets to make one thing a year if you're a Hollywood kind of, you know, if you're in that space, where we get to make like 30 a month. You know, it's like we just make an
Yeah.
absurd amount of content, you know?
You've worked a lot along different platforms, like you
Mhm.
said, Real Short, Drama Wave, Drama Box, iDrama,
Yeah.
and others. What have those sets taught you about acting for short form and mobile first
Yeah,
storytelling?
it's just a different thing altogether. And you have to, like, when you go, it's like class. When you go in, you have to realize, like, I'm here to learn as much as I am here to perform, right? And a lot of the sets, vertical sets, are fast paced in a way that, like, I don't think people like in Hollywood comprehend. Like the
Hmm.
speed that we work at is, I mean, it's almost reckless sometimes. You know what I mean? And you know, it's an absurd amount of pages we shoot. You know, one project I did with Travis Delore, we shot, I think, 32 pages in one day, and it's like, I don't know if anyone knows Hollywood, but usually you shoot 3 to 5 in a day. So like it's a different speed. But you know, it's really made me so much better as an actor, because you have to get it right the first time. And you know, I think there are a lot of I meet a lot of day players who come in, it's their first vertical, it's their first time on set, and they really like expect it to be like a Hollywood production. And I understand that. I understand, but it's not. And you know, when they fumble a line or whatever, it's kind of like, that was the take. You know, we're gonna have to
Mhm.
move on. You know, and that's really frustrating for people. But it's like, you should have been more prepared. You know, and I don't mean that in a negative, narcissistic way. I just mean, like, this is the job. We have to show up really, really prepared. You know, and even, you know, the only people who get leeway really are leads, and even leads don't get a lot of leeway. I've
Mhm.
been in rooms where leads are getting talked to by executives like, hey, lock it in, you know? So it's like, we just have to show up more prepared than anybody ever has on a Hollywood set, and be ready to shoot all 30 pages, and, you know, not complain too much about it, you know, just get through it, you know, with a couple coffees and Celsius.
Do you enjoy that intensity of the short
Totally.
filming, like some are
Totally.
10 days, 12 days, even shorter? I've had
Yeah.
actors on here that say it's even shorter. Do you
Yeah.
enjoy that intensity and the pace?
Totally. I mean, I think that the greatest thing about this is that our projects get seen. They come out constantly. You know, I shoot a project in June. It's out the first week of July. Like, it's crazy. You
Mm.
know, like, um, I have a short film that I shot a year and a half ago. I'm still waiting to see. You know, so it's like the nature of legacy Hollywood is this kind of beast. It's a machine. It's this, like, all right, we're gonna develop a project, and then we're gonna, you know, produce a project, and then we're gonna do the festival circuit, and
Mhm.
then we're maybe gonna release it. And it's like, this can be a 6 7 year process to see a project, to see the thing that you made. So I think we're lucky as vertical actors that we get to see our projects. We get to see the response to them. So we is kind of a quick, it's like what's it called? It's kind of like a quick data cycle where we're learning and
Mhm.
we're changing quickly. And then also, just like the fact that we get our tape. I mean, it's hard to get it from the platforms, but we can all get it. Like, the fact that we have tape of ourselves in these shows, like, doing dramas and comedies and like, this is great tape. And I've heard it from a lot of agents that are like, never ever show your vertical reel. I disagree wholeheartedly. We're actors. If you think any type of acting is sub acting, you're wrong.
Mhm.
You're completely incorrect. Right? We are all acting, whether you are a prestige actor in The Odyssey or you are a vertical actor in My Baby Daddy CEO's Werewolves Lunar New Year. Whether you're in that, regardless, you're still acting, and like I said, I think the challenge that we face as actors in the vertical world is entirely different than the challenges you face in Hollywood, and it's just we're all doing our part to be part of this industry. So I really have respect for everyone in the industry, regardless of student shorts all the way up to the Avengers.
Following on from that, do you think there is a stigma even now because vertical dramas are growing, but do you think there's a stigma still with vertical dramas? Like you said, agents are telling actors not to show their vertical drama reels. So that there is still that stigma.
Yeah, yeah. Stigma is a good word. The vertical industry as a whole has not helped itself in the last 5 months with AI.
Yeah.
I think we were starting to show a little bit of prestige. And I really that word's really important to me, prestige, because that's like the goal of Hollywood. Like we want to win Oscars, we want to win BAFTAs, we want to win. Is the point is prestige, and verticals have always kind of taken on a bit of a slop category, just in their nature, in the nature of um, mm, this soap opera, whatever you will call it. We were getting better, and the scripts were getting better, and things were getting better, and I really like was proud of every production team, every writer, every like we were getting better, and then the AI thing starts happening, and I was told specifically not to bring up AI today, but I'm going to do it anyways for once because it's frustrating. We had a show come out on Drama Box a couple days ago, and within 8 hours, I'm not joking, within 8 hours, they buried it under 40 AI made shows. So not five, not six, like 40 AI verticals on top of ours, burying it. So it's just like, what are we doing? What is this? And if you look at the viewership of those last now 24 hours, all of those AI shows have between 10 and up to 60,000 views, right? Our show has over 400,000 views already. So it's like the data shows that people want to watch humans, right?
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I think any progress we made in the industry to show that we were getting better has been lost in the last couple months, and it's just going to take um, production teams and platforms another year, I think, to get it going again if they choose. They haven't chosen that
Mhm.
yet. Right now, we're still in the maybe not phase. So it's a weird time, but it's what can you do?
So can you think that because I think vertical dramas are taking over really in
Mhm.
my life anyway, because I watch them more than
Yeah,
mainstream TV at the moment and
yeah.
mainstream movies. Do you think TV creators, movie creators should take notes really from the way verticals are made and the way verticals
Mm.
audition their acts and how they get their actors and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think there's room to learn from anybody, all everywhere. I think anytime you think that you can't learn from somebody, you've kind of already lost in that battle. Um, I think both of us can learn from each other. What Hollywood can learn from us is that you can do things cheaper, you can do things faster, and you can do things as good as you're used to, if everyone just kind of works a little bit faster and harder. There's a great story from my AD friend, Kurt. He was telling me the other day that he needed the G&E team to do an impossible task. He needed them to get a setup done in 10 minutes. It's supposed to take a half an hour, but they were so behind. And he's like, can you guys? He's like, and they're like, no, of course not. And he's like, what if? Here's the thing. What if? And everyone knows that he hates pineapple on his pizza. Everyone knows. He's like, what if you do this in 10 minutes and then I will eat a pineapple pizza for all of you? And they're like, all right. They got it done in 9 minutes. So I just want you. So like,
Okay.
sometimes you can crank up the volume and get things done quickly. Just because you can. And I think a lot of times the verticals get to that seventh hour in the day and we're like, we have five more setups, or we have to do six more scenes, or just some crazy amount of thing to do in the last 4 hours. And it's like, let's lock in and do it. Where I think, in my experience, and I'm not all that well experienced in the Hollywood, the legacy Hollywood of it all, but I think Hollywood takes their time, and they don't turn it up, when they need
Mm.
to. So I don't know, long-winded answer for we can both learn from each other, and we work. What we can learn from them is it's okay to do a third take. I think sometimes it is okay to do that third take and get it right. it is okay to pause and make sure things are safe. It is okay to pause and make sure everyone's comfortable. Like, that's okay. But every set that I've been part of has done a really good job of doing those things. So I've heard kind of old horror stories from vertical sets, but in my experience, things have been really good. And yeah, I think we're all trying to do better, to make these things stay consistent because we love them, you love them, we want to keep making them.
When you first started, did the fan interactions and the way that fans responded to verticals, did that surprise you then, like when you were in theatre and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
I actually have had really positive fan interactions. I don't think anything surprised me. I think what surprised me most is that just the passion people have for these shows. Like people really like them, and they really take these shows seriously, and I love that. I mean, that's what we want as actors. That's what we want as
Hmm.
producers and writers. People to take our shows seriously and love them. I think like Obsessions, Backrooms, those have created this love for these films, and having that at all for our shows is really special. So I've had fantastic fan interactions. I'm definitely not like one of the vertical stars. I don't get the intensity that I think some other of my friends get. But no, I think vertical fans are very passionate, very happy, and very nice to talk to. So I've really enjoyed the fans, if you will.
Let's go back, and you've worked behind the camera as well.
Mhm.
So, how has that shaped you the way as an actor being behind the camera as well?
Yeah, I think everyone should experience production as an actor. It really helps you understand. I had this thought the other day. So actors and production are kind of coming to the same thing from very, very different angles. Actors, when they when we get to the set, we typically feel a certain amount of, I hate the word entitlement, because we've auditioned, we've chem read, we've callbacked, and we got the role. Right,
Hmm.
out of 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 people, however many people auditioned, we got it. So there's some level of narcissism, entitlement that just exists because of the process that was taken to get there, right? You almost feel a little irreplaceable. You're definitely not, but that's almost how you feel. Crew does not feel that way, right? Nobody on the crew feels irreplaceable. Legitimately nobody. Everyone had to claw their way to get there, scratch and claw. Everyone had to perform at the highest level for every show previously they've done to get to this show, to get whatever recommendation they got, to get whatever, like crew is experiencing a different life than you are as an actor. So I think experiencing that helps you kind of have a bit more empathy for both sides of the thing. I heard, oh, who said it? It was it was either Tom Holland or Timothy Chalamet, one of those. But it was like actors get unlimited takes. Especially in a Hollywood production. If I flub my line, even on a vertical set as a supporting character, I'm gonna get as many takes as I need to get that line right. We have to get that line right. So
Yeah.
oh, what's my line? What is it? Oh, line. We can do as many times as we want. If the first AC misses focus on one take, it's like, what the hell were you doing? What the can we get a better AC? It's like the end of the world. So I think having the empathy to realize like we're all doing a job, and sometimes you don't do your job perfectly. Like it's okay. So whether you're an actor or a crew or whatever, like of course we want to perform at the highest level, we want to do our best. But like if a mistake is made, it's like everyone kind of deserves the same level of empathy. Now, if you make two mistakes, lock in. You make three mistakes, but one mistake is a mistake, and it's totally understandable. And I just think that crew deserves. I mean, the crew's doing the work. They're doing all the work. Ultimately, we have to learn lines and perform, and there's challenges within that. But like, uh, it's harder to hold a camera all day than I think it is to perform. I think it's harder to hold the boom all day than it is to
Mhm.
perform. So I have a lot of respect for crew, having done it, having been part of it. Huge respect, and I really think everyone should experience some version of that. Whether you third AD or you're a PA or whatever, just get on set in some capacity. Do it for free. If you're a vertical actor and you're not working and a producer, hey, can I be a PA for free? I just want to get on. I just want to be in the back. I mean, they'll say yes. Like
Mm.
just just do it. I know people will argue never work for free. Eh, I think experience is worth a lot. And if you've never done that side of work, I think it's interesting and valuable to be part of it.
So you've worked along live environments like ESPN, NBC, Fox.
Yeah.
That must give you a that must teach you about pressure, timing, and
Yeah.
being prepared, especially in the live environments.
Yeah. I think like live is just special medium because everyone knows there's no going back. So there's a certain level. I mean, it's like theater where you have to keep it going. If
Hmm.
someone forgets a line, if something's wrong, it doesn't matter. Like the show must go on, very literally. Um, so live is a very fun format. I really enjoy directing live because it's such a like producing live is a lot of sponsors and it's a lot of pre-production, whereas directing live is very like in the moment. Like you just kind of just sit down. There's a monitor wall. Like, all right, everyone ready? Three, two, one, roll the open. Here we go. And now you're live, and now you're doing it. And there's this kind of constant like when you're directing, you're constantly listening to the announcers, what they're talking about, and the producer, what's happening, and you're just trying to visually match whatever's being discussed. So, sometimes it's backwards. So sometimes I'll show a shot and the play-by-play will talk about it. But most of the time I'm trying to match shots with what's happening. Um, outside of normal gameplay. Whenever it's normal gameplay, you're
Yeah.
just on a wide shot. But it's such a fun thing because you'll hear the announcer might know something interesting and might say like, oh, this is actually this is Devon's 18th basket of the season. If he gets two more, this will be actually the 100th career whatever. We'll hear that like, oh shoot, get that graphic ready. Let's get a package of all of his highlights tonight. If he makes that 20th shot, we're going to show that, right? So now we're producing that storyline as we just heard it. So now it's happening, whatever. We're watching him. Let's get some reactions ready, get a crowd camera ready. He makes that 20th shot. Cut to 20, cut to 7, cut, ready, roll red. And we have all these things happening that were already in motion so that when that happens, we tell an incredible story and the fans are like, whoa, what a cool package. So that only gets to happen live. This insane push of story and just like everyone coming together to make this moment. It only happens live, and it's such a cool thing when it comes together. And it comes together a lot more than you think. It's really cool.
You co-created and produced ESPN Plus Fuse.
Yeah,
What did that experience teach you about building a project from the ground up?
yeah, it taught me everything. Fuse was really cool. Fuse was a learning experience for me and for everybody. We wanted to do basically like a comedy club sports update show that we would show in between, like during half times, during during period breaks for hockey. We would show this
Mhm.
show, and it was fun. We kind of treated it like SNL kind of Sports Center hybrid, where we were like we were writing sketches and we were writing really fun packages, and ultimately a couple things happened with the network that they didn't want to renew it, and it didn't work out. But we did 3 episodes, and you know, I, getting to show run 3 episodes taught me everything top to bottom, literally top to bottom for
Mhm.
production. So that was invaluable to me. I'm very happy I got to do that. Uh, and yeah, it was a great. I mean, everyone on that team was great, and they really gave me a lot of freedom, which I look back on and am very grateful for, because that show's idea originated from two other people, Brett and Natalie. They created the show originally, and I actually came on as a basically studio producer on their first show, like their pilot, and their pilot didn't quite work, and the network ended up kind of swapping me out as a showrunner, and it ended up working for those 3 episodes. But we things get canceled and you move on. But it was a really, really, really good learning experience.
With your background in social media, digital content, how do you
Mhm.
balance being creative with also understanding what audience actually respond to?
Yeah, man. The step one is just constantly create. Like every day, excuse me, every day, like just create something, don't worry about the audience too much when you're creating things. But then on the flip side, if you want to make money, now you think about the audience, right? So there's kind of two different trains of thought for me is like creativity without limits and then creativity within limits. And both of those things are important and special and unique in their own ways. If someone tells me, hey, we want to do a project and it has to be a vertical, it has to have a button every minute and a half, it has to have X, Y, and Z. It's like, okay, these are really rigid rules, but I can still find creativity within them and like I can still express myself and the art within it. So I think like creativity without limits is fun because it's just like whatever you want, whenever you want, do whatever. But then creativity with limits is like for a purpose, it's kind of like sitting down to journal. It's like the hardest part of that is actually sitting down and opening your journal, at least for me. Like
Yeah.
the legitimate hardest part is like actually doing that. Once I'm here, I can kind of write something. So I think limits helps push projects along because you know creating within limits, it almost kind of is this what's it called, cyclical process of like whenever you hit a boundary, it's like no, I have to come back to what I'm doing, and it almost helps keep it driving forward. Where whenever you're kind of unlimited creativity, at least for me, I can get to the point of like, what are we even doing here? What is this? What am I doing? And I would kind of just not do anything. So I really actually like limitations, and I like playing to the audience. I like having a specific vision in mind when we're doing something.
Mhm.
But that said, you don't need to do either way. There's no right way to create. There's no right way to do anything. Sometimes the most off the cuff, insane, unplanned things go viral. People love them. So, I would say don't put too much stock into any particular like type of creativity unless again you're getting paid. In which case, do it.
Do you think social media has changed people's creativity?
I think social media has caused rapid evolution in so many aspects of life. A really good example is just language, how our language changes and it evolves so rapidly. You can look at, I'm a big fan of like etymology and linguistics and where words come from. I just think as an actor, it's interesting to know different languages and these things. And, it's like, so much of our language evolves from just almost misunderstandings or from people liking certain words or whatever. When we say, "Hey, let's go," in America, so maybe you say it too. We'll say, "Hey, let's party," right? So we'll say,
Hmm.
"Let's party." Where'd that come from? Well, there's the French phrase. It's like "Allez, c'est parti," right? It's like, "All right, let's go," right? So party, right? Party, right? There's that word, and like somebody just heard party, and like, oh, let's party. Like they like that. So it's a really fun evolution of language right there that like just happened because someone liked the word, right? So like I think the internet allows for that. So social media allows for that, where there's just this rapid evolution happening when it comes to creativity and storytelling, and like the do you know who Tim Robinson is?
I think so, yeah.
SNL
Yeah.
comedian. The Tim Robinson effect of his comedy really changing comedy online. Like this kind of Tim Robinson. Like I would say Curry Barker, like kind of is part of that Tim Robinson world. His sketches, his comedy, I adore, and he's so funny. But it's in that Tim Robinson world. So I think I'm sure he watched Tim growing up, and I'm sure that it's influence for him, no matter what. So the evolution of creativity, the evolution of how we do things happens rapidly because of social media, and it's like a fun thing to be part of. There is a lot to learn and there is a lot to try and experience, and I think it's a cool time to be doing all of this because there is so much creativity
Mm.
globally.
Let's go back in front of the camera. When you first get a script, what is the first thing you look for in a character?
Well, if it's a big role and I have time with the script, I will. I'm definitely trying to identify traits and like for me, mannerisms are a really big part of a character. Like I will try to read through and figure out like what is he doing. So I just played Thomas Hanks on this show, Battle Revenge, and Thomas is the younger brother of Luca and Camilla, and he's pretty much been raised by his mom. He's been raised by his sister. His dad died when he was young, and he has this kind of nervousness. His sister is a very powerful, strong, intense woman. His mom is a very powerful, strong, intense woman, and I just feel like Thomas is kind of this nervous, and I started to bite my thumb a little bit, and that the nail biting really started the character for me. So it's like latching on to a mannerism I can do that can kind of get me into the headspace, and then I can think through it while I'm there, and it starts to evolve from there. So mannerisms are a big thing for me, and then also just like this is obvious to any actor, but like the why behind scenes. I'm very interested in the why behind scenes and why we're here. Even if it's a simple answer, but just from like knowing how I got into this chair really helps me as an actor. And then also like for every scene, if I don't have super clear direction, or if I'm a day player and we don't really have a lot of character background, I will pretty much invent in my head what I was just doing right before action and then carry that through. So like, I did a show called, it's on TikTok right now, TikTok short drama called My Secret Affair with X's Brother. We're missing an article in that sentence, I know, but My Secret Affair with X's Brother. Uh, Really fun show. I played this character named Ethan, and there's a scene where I have to go basically confess that I fucked up to the big boss, Luca. Luca? No, Andre. I don't know. Andre. I do confess to Andre. I think one of those names. And and it was actually the very first um, scene of photography. So it was the day one, scene one was me doing this confession scene, which takes place long after all of the story. This is pretty much the end of this is actually this is the end of my character's arc and close to the end of the whole story altogether. And it was a quick start to the day, and I didn't get a lot of direction. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm on this phone call trying to, basically bury this story that I hurt this girl and this guy came in and beat me up and all these things. So I'm in my head like, okay, I'm trying to solve this problem and then action, right? So it just helps me be there. So long-winded answer for I just really like to know where I was, and that helps inform where I'm going as an actor.
What roles excite you the most?
Any role, anytime I get hired. Whenever there's a paycheck. No, I think I really like getting to play like I've been playing a lot of villains recently, and they're fun because villains do not see themselves as villains, right? It's a very
Mhm.
important trait when you play a villain. You do not think you're the bad guy. Ultimately, you think you're the good guy in a lot of ways, and how did this character get to thinking he's the good guy? How is it possible this piece of shit thinks he's in the right? It's fun to explore that. What was my childhood? What brought me here? What informed all of this? So I really do enjoy the villain. I've also not gotten to play like a romantic lead yet, so I can't say I've experienced that side of things. But getting to play any type of supporting character that is anywhere from actually, I mean, I got to play kind of the best friend of Gabe Armanado. He's a fantastic actor. I've worked with him a few times now. We just had a project come out called Take Me Back to the Night We Met on Real Short. Very, very good project. He's a fantastic actor. But I got to play his like best friend on a show called Sassy Girl, My Sassy Girl. And that was fun because I wasn't a jerk. I wasn't, I wasn't like, there's no insanity. I was just the best friend, and it was fun to be there. So that was fun to be part of that role. But I will admit that role felt a little more flat compared to my other roles where I do get to kind of create some type of insanity as to why I'm there.
Yeah. From projects like The Verdict with Judge Hatchet,
Mhm.
Tutoring My Rival Boy, The
Yeah.
Warlord Returns, and
Yeah.
Ice Cream Tears,
Yeah.
is there a role
You
that has stayed with you the most?
did your homework. I'm really proud of you. That's awesome. First of all, I just saw you had Riley on the show. Yeah.
I did, yes.
Yeah. the only thing I've ever done with him was the Warlord Returns, and we weren't even on the same day. But he's a fantastic actor. He's a really cool guy. I like talking to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think every character I play stays with me in some capacity. Um, the Verdict was funny because it's a completely improv show. It's complete improv, and basically you walk in. I don't want to give too much inside baseball away here, but you basically walk in and you're given a brief as to who you are. It's a very extensive brief. It's like I had basically 6 hours to prep with this brief. But it's a very, very extensive brief as to who you are and why you're there. And then you do it once, like with a PA, just to kind of get the story going in your head. And then you literally, I mean, you just walk into the room and the lights are on, the whole audience, the crowd's all there, and Judge Hatcher walks out and she's like, "Why are you here?" And then you just do it. It's very much it's very, very real. They run it very, very real. And it was nerve wracking, because it's like I'm trying to art. I mean, she's a real judge. She's a real, she did 12 years on the bench, so she's a very much a real judge, and she's very scary to talk to. She's not there to be nice to you. We're not actors. I'm going there to try to win money and during a lawsuit. So it's very, very intense and very real. So playing Evan Mallory was really fun. That has been my biggest social media clip in the last year by far. That one's crazy. That was a really fun day. And they also were really nice to me because the executive producer of that show, she only I think she said she only writes one or two of the episodes a year. They have a team of writers that handle it, and mine was specifically her show, and she really wanted it for promo, and it was a really special, like it was a really important show for her. So I got to work with the showrunner and some really great people on that. So it was a really, really, really fun project to be part of down in Culver City. But everything else, like I said, stays with me. Ice Cream Tears was my first. That was my directorial debut. That's my first time directing a project, and I just had an unbelievable team. My AD couldn't have been better. I had a co-director, Nehemiah Jordan. He's awesome, phenomenal writer. He helped write that script as well. That project was so good. It almost set the bar too high. Like it was just like everything was flawless during that shoot. But I attribute all that to pre-production and how much work we put into, no, every single person knew what we were doing at every single minute of that shoot. So there was never a question of what's next, which is awesome. No one's ever asking, where's this camera go? It's like, where it goes, so that was awesome. And then, yeah, every project was fun. I think you mentioned Warlord. That was cool because we got to go to Santa Clarita. I got to put on the FBI outfits, and we had these big Escalades we were driving with, and I got to play an FBI agent. That was fun. Like I've never gotten to play that before. So yeah, I really like playing something new, something fun, and getting to take that with me, because I think starting this conversation, I said every set is a learning experience, and I've never left a set like not learning something about somebody or some production aspect or something. So it's always a great time to be on set.
So how important do you think it is for actors to have extra skills beyond performance itself?
I mean, just for you as a person, it's important. Like, I don't like, not even as an actor, like not even as, like it's just good to do stuff. I think I I have a lot of hobbies. I really enjoy doing things, and also just I think special skills are valuable as an actor. If you can do something that someone else can't, that's cool. I'm a big fan of a place in LA called the Magic Castle. It's like a magic club, and I've done card magic my whole life. I've never been a performing magician. I've never tried to do that as a career, but I really enjoy cards and card magic. So I can pitch that skill sometimes. It doesn't always matter. There was a really cool magic vertical that got done that I didn't get asked to be part of. But it's like, so it doesn't really matter that you have the skill sometimes, but having it got me the audition. I would assume, being able to flick cards and stuff, it got me in the room, which is more than someone else that doesn't have the skill.
Yeah.
Got. So I think skills are very valuable. But also, like I said, just as a person, like I think a lot of people have this belief you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and it's just completely false. There's there's never been like a documented case of someone that can't learn. You know what I mean? I'm sure there has. I'm making that up, but I mean, like there's never been like so everyone can learn. You know, I'm really trying to learn French right now. And I was to tell my dad, and he's like, "Oh, that's really cool. I could never do it." I was like, "You could." He's like, "No, I could never." I was like, I just get Duolingo and start. So I got him Duolingo and like just start. And like, now we're like talking in French on the phone. You know, he learned pretty quick. You know, so it's like anybody can pick anything up. I think the actual like statistics are like it takes 20 hours to get proficient at something, and then 10,000 hours to become a professional. So it's like you can get through 20 hours pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
not well, you can get through them in 20 hours. You know, it's like it's not like it doesn't take weeks. It's like if you worked for 5 hours a day, that's 4 days, right? At a new skill. And then you're pretty at that point, you're proficient. Like if you work for 20 hours, you should know how to do whatever you're doing, you know? It definitely takes another whatever 9,000 to get to become professional at it, but that's not the goal. I don't think anyone's goal should be, become a professional. Like that becoming a professional means that's your job, like, you know, golf is a great example. Anybody can go hit a good hole, but it doesn't mean you're a professional golfer, right? It's like anybody can go have a good round, but then you can have a bad round, right? It's like being a professional is putting in 10,000 hours to the point of I don't have bad rounds anymore. Now I have only good rounds, and that's a different level of commitment and not the goal. The goal is to learn the skill and be able to use it, if someone calls you out to play golf.
Yeah. So let's look at where the entertainment industry is heading, especially with
Yeah.
vertical dramas, social platforms, and streaming.
Yeah.
What excites you the most?
Ooh, I mean, films coming back excites me. Like, I think films are really popular right now. I would say 2024, 2025, like, films were not popular. Like, I was going to the movies. There were some great films that came out last year. Like, Weapons came out last year. Sinners came out last year. What was the other one I really liked? The Long Walk came out. That was fun. Like, there were some great films last year. But I just feel like the hype around films didn't really exist at all. F1 came out. F1 was a big movie. It was a great year for movies, but it wasn't a great year for like audience, in my opinion. Where this year, I think the audience has just exploded. Obsession, without question, is like one of the biggest films I think
Yeah.
ever. Backrooms is such a fun, just like IP thing that people loved that IP before the movie was even made, which is great. I didn't personally love Project Hail Mary, but people loved that movie. So like that was huge. Odyssey right now is huge. Spider-Man right now, massive. Like these are huge audiences that are going to watch these movies. So I'm excited that film is back. I think there is a marrying to be had between us vertical, crew and cast, and then Hollywood crew and cast. And I think we can definitely find some. Obsession was made for $750,000. Like
Yeah.
that's about double a single vertical budget. So if we just instead of making two verticals, we just make one feature. Like that, there's some money to be made there. There's some real, if it's a good story and it's the right project. So I'm excited that I think we're closer than everyone realizes. Like it was all working together. It's all really close. It hasn't happened yet, and the pathway isn't there yet, but it's close, and that excites me. I think the last 2 years, verticals in Hollywood have kind of been at an arm's length, and I don't know if you know who Matt Bellamy is. He hosts the Town podcast, but he had one of the executives from Drama Box on his show a year ago, and it's exciting that Hollywood is interested and they're learning and they're interested in is what we're doing. And actually more so now than ever, I know from inside conversations, Sony is involved in conversations with a certain platform. Fox is already making verticals with a certain platform, and NBC released their first vertical with Jimmy Fallon, I think 2 weeks ago. So like these are exploding as a medium. They're not going anywhere as a medium, and I think like that's super exciting for all of us that there is a new medium.
Mhm.
It's a complete reversal of when television came out, where it's like anyone in film was like Absolutely not. You want me to make home movies? You want me to make a movie for your house? Absolutely not. And then like Seinfeld gets like 100 million viewers, and they're like, okay, fine, we'll make TV. It's like I think the exact same thing is going to happen with verticals, and it's already happening. The first show on Real Short got 1 billion views a couple months ago. So it's like, and there's a show. Oh, what's it called? I can't remember the name of it, but it's like I think it just crossed 500 million views. So it's like these these are huge numbers. So like, there's a lot of incredible content to be made, and I'm excited to be part of it.
What worries you about the entertainment industry?
Can you guess?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think what sucks is like AI is such an interesting dilemma because much like verticals, it's not going anywhere. And
Hmm.
everyone knows that. And the mission of OpenAI is to create the first artificially generated intelligence, right? That is their mission statement. So until that happens, they're not done working, right? So it's like, okay, noted, but like all these companies, Google is not a search engine. They are a quantum computing platform. Their goal is to make the first quantum computer, right? So it's like they're not doing search, like their ads pay for that, right? Facebook Meta, they are not a social media platform, they're an advertising platform, right? So, understanding the platform goals and understanding kind of the powers that control it all, it helps you realize like, one, people's goals are different than mine. Like my goals are different than Google's. So that's like kind of encouraging and discouraging at the same time, where it's like I don't feel like anyone's gonna help me or anyone's gonna help us. But that also means that no one's trying to like hurt us or like interfere with us. Like no one's trying to stop us. So
Mm.
like that's kind of cool. I'm very optimistic about the industry and the numbers. I mean, TikTok short drama just published that their or not TikTok short drama. It's their Chinese branch. I don't remember the name. It's Hung something. They just published that their viewership was down 40% after going AI,
Yeah.
and they completely walked it back. You saw this. They completely walked it
Yeah.
back. They removed over 5,000 AI titles. So, that's to me extremely optimistic as far as the powers that be realizing that people want people, and you know we want to work. And look, we're not paid great as vertical actors and crew. Like we're not paid great, but we are happy to do this work for this money because we like it, and we like being part of it, and we like showing up to set and working hard and not having to go to our other job. We like this, so we're happy to do it. And nobody can say that vertical actors and crew aren't willing to work hard and aren't willing to kind of take a bit of a, I don't know, take a bit of a bad day to make it happen. So we're very willing to work. And again, I was told not to say this, but it's disappointing that some platforms are preferring to spend their money investing in nonsense and slop instead of investing in a real human show, because the viewership, the numbers are very clear at this point that people prefer human shows. I
Hmm.
think that there is an argument to be made that it's probably way cheaper to make an AI show, and the return on that investment is very fast to recoup. Um, but a lot of these platforms were built on the backs of human actors, and now they're kind of shunning us to make their profits. So it's an unfortunate moment. So that's obviously disappointing and upsetting. But
Yeah.
um, it's not the first time that actors have been shunned. It's not the first time that the industry has kind of collapsed a little bit, and it certainly won't be the last. And we're all lucky that shows are still getting produced in some capacity, and that people like you exist. And I am very, very grateful to you for having this show, because having conversations like this is how we stay relevant and how we talk about these things. So without you, this wouldn't be possible. So I really do appreciate you.
So if someone is out there who wants to act, maybe create content, build a career in this industry, what advice would you give them?
Mhm. There's so much to do on a local level. I think a lot of people think that it's like I have to get to LA and I have to like honestly don't. There's not much work here. Like where there is work is local theater, no matter where you live. And if you tell me your town, I will find the community theater and I will find the next play. And guess what? You're gonna get a part. Like you're unless you like can't speak. Well, even if you no, that's a complete lie. I have a fantastic deaf actor. His name I worked with him on a project called the BB Shaver story or something like that. But he's an incredible deaf actor, and like so like even if you're a deaf actor, like you're gonna find work, you know. So it's like there is absolutely no reason to not go do local theater if acting is a passion of yours. If you want to be a famous celebrity, yeah, that's that's a harder pathway. You know, I don't know how to start. I'm not a famous celebrity, you know, so I don't know that path. But I know if you are passionate about acting and performing, local theater is the greatest way to start. Um, I am not. I think classes are cool. Classes cost money. Theater doesn't.
Mhm.
I think you can go be like a one line character in a theater production, but just being there and like being with people, and maybe you'll get to be an understudy and you can read those lines in rehearsal. You know, you're gonna get a script, read the lines at home, you know, pretend you're the lead. If you have a friend or a partner, read the lines together. Like acting is pretending. We are pretending all the time, and it doesn't stop when we leave set. I'm a crazy person. I love doing bits and pretending and acting and like it's sometimes if you were to listen into some of me and my actor friends conversations, it's like you wouldn't know what is even happening. Sometimes we're just doing bits. We're doing bits on bits on bits, and there's just like five layers of meta bits happening. You're like, what is this conversation? It's like we're just weird. We're just playing, and that's the best part of this whole thing is you get to just play and have fun, and you can do that anywhere, anytime. No matter what, you can just try doing an impression in the mirror. Try writing something funny and telling a joke. Like you don't. I think there's this almost like internal desire for people to see what we do, but that's not the
Mhm.
first step. Like the first step is doing. And like you don't have to record it. You don't have to publish it. Just do stuff. And that those actions are the beginning of all of these different actions. So hopefully that answer made sense.
So before we go on to my two signature segments for this
Yes.
podcast, where can people follow your work and keep up with what you're doing next?
Yeah, I'm just Jake Crossman on Instagram. It's the best place to find me. I think I'm also the Jake Crossman on TikTok, but I don't remember. Yeah, I post mostly on Instagram. That's where I keep all my stuff is Instagram. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. So our first segment is who are your visions? So we are going to see who you love in the industry, what you love
Okay.
watching in the industry. So the first
Okay.
up is TV and movies. Who do you love in that industry? What do you love watching in TV and movies?
hmm Controversial opinion. I'm a huge Timothy Chalamet fan. I really, really like Timothy Chalamet. I think he has gone through so many evolutions of hate and people being angry at him. When he was younger, people said he was too bashful, he was too humble, he was too skinny, he was too right, all these things. He got older, people started saying, "Oh, he's too arrogant." What happened to the Timothy Chalamet locks? Oh, he's getting fat now. Like, I think he's taken so much scrutiny, but every role he's done is incredible. Like, I just rewatched "Call Me by Your Name" the other day, and it's like
One of
that
my favorite
movie.
films. One of
That
my favorite
movie,
films.
it's so incredible. Like every scene is a story circle. Every
Mhm.
scene completes itself, and like I don't know, I think like to do that role at I think he was 18 or 19 at the time. To
Yeah,
do that
I think so.
role that young, like I don't know. And then I mean, how can you watch Dune and not think he's awesome? I don't know what to tell you. So I'll watch whatever he makes. I'm a huge fan of him.
Okay, music. Who is constantly on replay at the moment? What artists do you love?
I've been listening to a lot of piano recently. So like there's an artist called Yuruma who just makes piano music. He has two incredible songs. One is called Maybe, one is called River Flows in You. Just really beautiful, pretty piano songs. That said, I like all kinds of music. One of my earliest influences was an artist named Black Bear. I just adore this kind of underground hip hop. I will listen to anybody and any kind of music, but right now I'm definitely in a classical piano phase.
I think I've gone past that phase. I was a few
Yeah.
months ago, but I've gone past
Yeah.
that phase now. So,
What's your phase?
my fa I like all sorts of music. I'm
Uh-huh.
not I'm not picky about what music. If I enjoy the tune and the beats and everything,
Yeah.
I'm there. It's my music.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been into also like Noah Kahan, Mumford and Sons. Like I like that kind of like folk sound too. So
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. I'll listen to Shinedown and like Demon Hunter. I'll listen to anything, man. I just love music. I grew up. My dad's an audio tech, so he was a sound engineer for a band called Clockwise. They would tour with Blue Oyster Cult. You know who that is?
Hmm.
Don't Fear the Reaper is one of their big songs. But yeah, so I grew up in music. My dad, I mean, I don't remember this. My dad said he would put me in like the baby carrier underneath the like soundboard while he would mix and then take me back out. So I've been around music my whole life, man.
Yeah.
I adore it. It's great.
So, can you describe your time in vertical dramas with one word or a phrase?
My time in vertical dramas, in one word or a phrase. Should I have this prepared? I would say it's cyclical. It's a cyclical
Hmm.
process, and that's a good thing. Like once you know the cycle, you can like really get into it and like really start revving it up. So yeah, I think cyclical. It's a really repeatable process, and it's a soap opera. You know, if anyone's ever watched a soap opera, that's what we're doing. You know, and
Yeah.
it's fun because some of those soaps are still on. I think General Hospital's still on. It's been like what 30, 40 years.
Hmm.
Like anybody should be like the goal should be to be on TV for 30 years. That's incredible. So like I think we're already doing some cool stuff and we're already looking towards that goal and yeah, I'm just really excited for the industry to keep growing.
Reading, do you have an author or a book that you love reading?
I'm not the biggest reader. I just reread The Lord of the Rings. That's a fun series, but I listened to it. I did the Audible. Andy Serkins, who plays Golem, he
Yeah.
actually narrated all the books and he does all the voices, so it's really fun to listen to that. I read there's a book that stands out just because you asked. There's an author, N.D. Wilson, who I read when I was a kid. He wrote two books, Notes from a Tilt-A-Whirl, and then another book that I can't remember the name of now. And it's a very like philosophical book. I read it when I was a kid, and it really like set up my life in a very real way. One of the first chapters, he talks about how his wife walks out to see him like gripping onto the grass outside, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "We're spinning at 3,000 miles an hour. I'm holding on." You know, and like that mindset of like, do you realize how big this all is? Like this is like I know you're just standing there, but I'm holding on because we're moving
Mm.
quick, you know. So I don't know. He's a really good author. It's a really good book. Just to kind of like I don't know, take a different perspective on life and a perspective on beauty. You know, his whole thing is like these are all adjectives. You can't have beauty without ugly. You can't have good without bad. You know, and like it's the best paintings have contrast, right? Like the characters in the shows you love. If it was just all puppies and rainbows, there'd be no reason to watch the show,
Yeah.
right? It's contrast. It's the bad moments that make the good moments worth living. So really good book, really good author, and that's definitely been a part of my life.
You have acted in theatre, so do you have an actor or an actress in theatre shows or a show that you love?
I mean, I just, when I grew up, one of the first Broadway plays I ever saw was Wicked. I saw it with
Hmm.
Idina Menzel, Kristen Chenoweth. I mean, they are just spectacular,
Yeah.
and I don't think anything will ever top that. For me, we didn't have front row, but we had like second row seats, and that was just like that was ridiculous. So I'm a huge fan of Wicked and that whole play. I just did a play called Proof. That one's really cool. David Auburn. I got to play Hal. Really fun play. So I mean, I really just enjoy plays and theater. Unfortunately, they take a massive amount of time to do. So
Hmm.
like right now, I'm not looking for that. But if I can have a good year in narrative, whether that's traditional Hollywood or verticals, I would love to consider going and doing a play again, and spending the time that it takes to do that.
And finally, our quickfire game, this or that. That.
Okay.
So I'll give you two options. You pick one which best describes you.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. First one, comedy or drama?
Comedy,
Playlists or podcasts?
podcasts,
iPhone or Samsung?
iPhone,
Country walk or city stroll?
country walk.
Tea or coffee?
I can both. Coffee,
Road trip or direct flight?
direct flight,
Alone time or time with friends and family?
alone time,
Acting or producing?
acting,
Acting for camera or acting on stage?
acting for camera.
Vertical dramas or traditional TV series?
Oh man, don't tell anyone, but traditional, I think it'd be.
That's it.
There we go. This has been
Thank
fun,
you,
man. I really
Jake.
appreciate you.
Thank you for joining this podcast. It's been
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah, I really, like I said, I'm very glad that you do this because it's great for everyone to be able to see the interviews you host. So thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being you. This has been really fun.
This has been great. Thank you very much, Jake.